In 1978, the IRONMAN World Championship was born, but it was on a different island on Oahu. Now the Big Island is the home to the IRONMAN World Championship, brought to you by Amazon. I am Greg Welch, joined by Paula Newby-Fraser.
Good morning, Greg, and welcome to everybody to the 2018 IRONMAN World Championship, brought to you by Amazon. We are getting ready for a big day, 40 years of dreams, as we celebrate the 40th anniversary here on the Big Island.
Just having a flyover of the Big Island of Hawaii, but body marking is the order right now. We see our athletes just checking in. Susie Cheatham from the UK. As they get their bodies marked, they head on over to transition area after that to prepare for their biggest day.
The morning starts early as we see our defending champion, Daniela Rief from Switzerland. She's been through her body marking, number F1, just pumping tires, getting her nutrition set for their big day out here on Hawaii.
Here we go now. It is time to have a look at our swim course, brought to you by Roka. Elongated rectangle out there, 2.4 miles the distance. Out onto the bike course, a short 8 miles inside of town before heading out on the Queen Ka'umano Highway, out past Kona Airport, up into the Waikoloa Village area. Now, if there is wind, this will be the part which will challenge the athletes. A right-hand turn at Kauai High, up to the town of Harvey here on the Ventum bike course. 112 miles the distance, and they retrace their steps all the way back into Kailua-Kona, where they will then get set for the run course. The last part will be very fast as they go past the Kona Airport with just 6 miles to bike.
Out onto the Hoka One One run course. It's a quick 3.5 miles up and down each way on a Lee Drive, out toward the airport into the very challenging Energy Lab, and retrace their steps down to everyone waiting at the finish line.
2,471 athletes will start the race today. The weather today, record-setting conditions, low temperatures to speak of right now, 72 degrees, 90% humidity, that is way up, and light winds. We're just about set for the men's pro division in the 2018 IRONMAN World Championship, brought to you by Amazon.
Our professional men lining up, getting ready for their start at 6:35 this morning. The professional women will be lining up and starting 5 minutes later. Everyone's spread out, approximately 45 men on the start line here this year. And as they head out definitely in record-setting conditions, the conditions today, what we would call a slack tide, Greg. The high tide has come in, so there's no real water pushing in or pulling out, so we're looking for some very fast swims.
The record still holds from 2 decades ago with a 46 minutes and 41 seconds. Can it be broken today? We will just have to wait and see. Josh Amberger from Australia, one of the toughest swimmers out there. He is one of the favourites to come out of the water in that first position. There he goes right at the top of the screen, already into a good position on the swim.
He certainly is. Josh Amberger, we expected him to be pushing out, started somewhere in the middle, which kind of forces all his competitors to take a look around and see where he is. Going to put a little bit of pressure on the pace, but not too much. He would like some company out there as we look at this ever so slight swell. Not much chop on the water, just a little bit of swell, and everybody pushing to stay on his feet, and we'll see what kind of pace that he continues to set today.
A single line just stretching right out there at the moment as Amberger now puts in the hard yards. He's now starting to accelerate away from the competition, bringing it out in a single file. You know then, Paula, it is really going on.
I think that Josh, once he gets to the turnaround boat, is going to take a little glance back and perhaps think that he's dragging one too many people with him. He certainly had made it clear that today he wants to swim. He doesn't want to be stuck out there by himself. He wants to have a few guys around him once he gets out onto that bike course. So right now he's got just enough pressure to keep everyone strung out behind him, with some good favorites in that pack right behind him.
Dennis Chavreau is in there from France. Also Anthony Costas. You can also see in there Timothy O'Donnell and Andy Potts from the USA. Now as they make the turn at the Roka swim course here, they are at 1.2 miles into it at the halfway position. Now we've got that single line out there, and the lead pack has now been splintered.
The lead pack certainly getting splintered here, just the way I think he wanted it. They will be rounding these buoys and then heading back home. As he comes around those Roka swim buoys, he will be eyeing the towers of the King Kamehameha Hotel, and that will be his sighting point as he heads back to the pier. I think he's going to keep the pressure high and keep that group as tight and as small as possible.
Trying to make a gap on the rest of the field here at the moment, because we do have the Uber bikers that will be coming up a little bit later on the 112-mile Venton bike course, but right now it's all about the Roka swim. And as you were saying, the navigating is not too bad here. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, the navigating is very easy. Some very good static landmarks for the athletes to key off on the way out. There is a nice point that they can key, a land point they can key on, and once they turn around and they come back, the two towers of the King Kamehameha Hotel, if they are coming back in and they side to the right tower, they will be dead on as they come into the pier.
Two of our favourites in that group of four were Tim Don and Braden Curry, just getting dropped off the back. But back at the lead of the course right now, Josh Amberger from Australia is leading the race, as he has done ever since we got going at 6:35 a.m. There is our lead paddler right now, just navigating the way around the course as well. A little bit easier for the athletes to see when they've got that paddler in front.
Absolutely. It enables him to just, a leader to just slightly lift his head, see the paddler right in front, look ahead down and see the pier, and that way stay on course, keep his head down as much as possible, because every time he lifts his head up a little, it just breaks on the momentum. But as we look at this, definitely picking up the pace. Few guys coming off the back of that lead pack. Swim times looking like they're moving pretty fast today, Greg. These conditions are definitely playing for a faster swim than we've seen in previous years.
Remembering that the course record is 46:41, held by Lars Jorgensen from the United States over 2 decades ago, and now we are seeing that Amberger is really tightening the screws on the rest of the competition. There is Denis Chavreau from France in second place with just 150 metres to go. We can see that our age group men's race got underway just moments ago, and here we go. Amberger now at the end of the Roka swim. Does he have enough to get the record today?
Well, he's pushing hard, but I think he's just missed it. Our record time just haven't gone past, so it's not going to be a record, but certainly one of the fastest swims that we've seen here in the last 5 years. It's been the swim conditions have been rough in previous years. Some of these athletes really struggling to break 50 minutes, but I think we're going to see quite a few sub 50-minute swims, which is new for us this year.
Amberger's pace was enough to only drag 8 athletes through the Roka swim today. There goes Amberger from Australia, Denis Chavreau from France, there's Anthony Costas, Timothy O'Donnell's in there, Andy Potts from the USA are inside of our top 5, going through our bags here. Now the rule is that they have to go into the tent, get changed, run the perimeter of the transition area, grab the bikes and out onto the Venton bike course.
Correct. As we see these athletes going through their T1, grabbing their swim to bike bags, getting changed, and to make this event fair for every athlete that makes the start, everyone is required to run the full perimeter of our transition area, which is pretty large. It's a good 300-meter run around to their bikes, but that way everyone covers the same distance. No one is getting an advantage. So once again, there's no winning and losing in transition, but at this point you don't want to spend an extra 15 or 20 seconds in the transition.
Pro Men leaderboard in the swim today was Amberger from Australia with a 47.38, missing the record by just over a minute. Timothy O'Donnell, Javier Gomez-Noya, Anthony Costas. There we go with Giulio Molinari from Italy, Igor Armarelli from Brazil, Matt Schrabot from the USA, just inside of our top 10. Andrew Starkowitz, one of our favourites on the bike today, now exiting the water.
Yeah, Andrew Starkowitz, definitely a crowd favourite, back here after just a very, very tough year, terrible accident, making his comeback. I think everyone is looking to him to see how far back he is going to be, because he wants to push to the front, and these athletes at the front want to get out on the course, get themselves in their rhythm, get set, because they know he's coming.
Yeah, he does have the fastest ride in the history of Ironman, 112 miles. That is a 4:01 set by Andrew Starkowitz. Now we go up Palani Road. The first turn is Kailua-Kona Highway as they make a left-hand turn.
Yeah, these athletes have a little bit of a loop around town, which is wonderful for the spectators. They see them go out, they make a little bit of a loop, they come back down Palani and onto the Kailua-Kona Highway, which allows all the fans, the friends, families out here to see these athletes. As we watch Denis Chavreau from France, not surprised to see him out there, a great athlete, all-around athlete. So to see him out setting the pace, I am sure he wants to be up front, set that pace. They want to be prepared before the Uber bikers come by.
The 8 miles in town are now complete. Now we have the USA's Timothy O'Donnell. He's already placed on the podium here at the IRONMAN World Championship, brought to you by Amazon. Having a great ride right now, but this is our defending champion. He is right up there. He's had a great swim today, and he is now poised in a very good position already. Now we have Andrew Starkowitz from the United States. This guy is the one that everybody looks to at setting the pace out on the bike ride. He is now leading our men's race.
Yeah, he came out of the swim not too far behind and powered his way to the front. He has passed our defending champion, Patrick Lange. One of the officials coming up, having a word with Patrick. Not exactly sure what he's saying, but they look like they were having a bit of a conversation. But now we see the Uber bikers as we expected out there. We can see Andrew Starkowitz, but there he is, Anthony Costas, another French athlete. Also not unusual to see him pushing the pace. Very aero position. Did you see that aero position he has?
The pace is being set early on with Andrew Starkowitz now regaining the lead. Cameron Worth from Australia sitting in second position. There's Cam Worth from Australia just right there. He's doing a very good race, and look at the setup that he has. Now let's talk about Cameron Worth, because he does hail from Australia. He went to the Olympics as a rower, and he rode professionally for almost a decade.
Exactly, and he set the course record last year on the bike. He single-handedly was the one that blew up off the race in 2017, resetting the bike course record. So everyone king of him, king of Andrew Starkowitz. But Anthony Costas not giving up much. He wants to give it a shot and try and hang in here with these Uber bikers.
Costas is not really accustomed to leading the IRONMAN World Championship, but today may be his day. The Frenchman did very well in Ironman France just earlier on in the year in June, but here is Patrick Lange. He is the defending champion, now making his move around the pack. Now what he has to do, Paula, is he has to make his move, and it has to be completed within 25 seconds. Then he has to move across and back into the line here in the echelon.
Exactly. Patrick Lange definitely following the rules here. The gap is 12 meters between each biker, and you cannot slot in if the gap is not greater than 12 meters. As we watch our pro men, they're heading out, and the winds at the moment, Greg, almost non-existent.
It's going to be a record-setting day for sure, because 6 miles an hour may as well be nothing right here as we look at our 3D map over the big island of Hawaii. There is our leader pro man, and now Sebastian Kinley, and that is not his normal back wheel. The 2014 IRONMAN World Champion is struggling. He came out of transition area, had a flat tire. Now he got a new wheel, and it's not working the way that he wanted.
Yeah, Sebastian Kinley stepped up here, had a swim above his usual swim, put himself in ideal setup, and so very disappointing for him to have a mechanical so early in the bike ride.
As Starkowitz now approaches the town of Harvey and the turnaround, Cameron Worth is still sitting in second place, and another Australian, Josh Amberger, in third place. But they have now made the move of the day. They have quite a considerable gap. Worth makes the turn in first place here at Harvey Town. In second place, it's Andrew Starkowitz from the USA. And Amberger, well, he's hungry enough that he might even eat that bottle, but not really, Paula. This is the turnaround, and they're going to hit the aid station right now.
Yes, as they make this turnaround, they hit the aid station, and a few minutes back, here come our leaders. We now see Andy Dreitz and Maurice Clavel, who's here doing his first Kona right behind him. Tim O'Donnell, just that swim of his has set him up well as we look at other top contenders. Igor Amarelli, Braden Curry, our Asia Pacific regional champion, right in the mix there. So these athletes come through, they've picked up their special needs, and one of the most notable things as they start this very fast descent down from Harvey is that the wind, Greg, nothing is bent over. There is no wind blowing out there. It's cool, and I think these athletes are really going to take advantage of that.
To your point, Paula, the trees are usually bending over sideways here. This is the North Kahala region. This is the windiest point of the Big Island. It comes from the windward side right past Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea and sweeps through this region, but not today. This is definitely going to be a record bike ride.
Absolutely. When you think that Cameron Worth set the bike course record last year and we had some normal trade winds blowing, I think everybody's going to take advantage of very, very quick bike splits today. Andrew Starkowitz keeping the pressure on, keeps looking over his shoulder. He is trying to break this apart. He wants to be the singular athlete to set this bike course record, and there's certainly been a lot of chirping going on all week with him and Cameron Worth about this.
Cameron Worth is now ascending up to the top outside of Kauai High, making the right turn onto the Queen Kaumana Highway for the last time. He now has 35 miles to ride. Worth, the Australian, took down the bike course record last year, 4:12.54. That is absolutely smoking hot. He took 3.5 minutes off that record. Now as the temperature climbs, it was 72 in the morning, now it's up to 82. We can see the heat haze on the road. The humidity levels are still right up there today, but we've never seen this race with no wind on the highway.
Look, Rick, I think the swim had quite a bit of impact here, because for the first time in this race, we're not seeing a big, strung-out group. We've got all these different groups along the way. As we look at Tim Don, one of the great stories from our Ironman event this year, recently returned from a fractured neck injury from last year, just before the race.
In 2017, won the Ironman Latin American Championship and set the world record. Then went to Kona, had a horrific bike accident, and now he's back in the race. Back to the action right now, and our defending champion Patrick Langer is sitting well at the back of the group there. Michael Weiss, he is on fire lately. Just a couple of weeks ago had the fastest run leg in a 70.3 race, and now he is on fire here on the bike ride.
Yes, this chase group has certainly started to come apart. Michael Weiss riding his way up to it as we look at Cameron Worth, not Andrew Stockwitz, Cameron Worth once again rolling into T2 in the lead and in a new bike course record.
There we go with a 4:09. Cameron Worth has just come in now. He gets rid of the bike there to our bike catchers there. Cameron Worth sets off now toward the Hoka on a run course. Now he's off the bike and he still looks pretty good there, Paula. You can generally see an athlete if they're failing right now, but his posture is perfect.
You know, Cameron Worth came last year just to experience it, to throw down on the bike, reset that bike course record. He has spent the year working on his run split. His marathon has gotten better and better. He has come to this event not only to dominate the bike ride this year, but he is expecting a much better run this year. And if all indications are holding from his year, it will be much better.
With 6 Ironmans under his belt already in 2018, today is going to be his toughest test yet, as now we see Starkowitz just coming into the transition area. Not the bike ride that he wanted today. He wanted to get out there and challenge that bike course record. He's going to have to settle for the second place. Cameron Worth now grabs some aid from the aid stations here as he makes his way out onto the Hoka on a run course. 26 miles to go.
Yeah, and Cameron Worth looking good, knows how to run a steady marathon. Andrew Starkowitz under the bike course record, so theoretically set the bike course record, but he's still in second place. Just, I think he wanted the fastest bike ride, not looking that smooth, but when does he ever look that smooth when he's running? But it looks like it hurt him. That effort was tremendous. It's tremendous to see him back out here, and I think in part that's a victory for him, but it remains to be seen how things go for him on the run. Obviously getting himself together, is going to stretch out his muscles. I think that Andrew's goal was the bike ride, but I will say it's great to see him out there, and I certainly hope that he keeps it steady.
Well, we never say that you can win or lose the race in the transition area, but it may take a little bit of, speeding up to get Starkowitz out there and put himself into a better position, because we know what's behind right now, and that is a pack of our competing athletes here in our pro men's division, and a lot of our favourites today. Worth now out onto Ali'i Drive. Ali'i Drive has no wind. It is very hot out there, and it's almost like it's an oven effect.
It's totally an oven effect, especially on Ali'i Drive with all the trees. The air is very still as we see Cameron Worth, as he has practiced setting a steady pace. But look at this. The big guns right out of T2 going at each other as we see Braden Curry, one of the toughest competitors coming from multi-sport adventure racing. He's throwing down early right there with Belgium's Bart Arnolds, two of the best runners out of transition.
This beautiful run course here out on Ali'i Drive. They go out 3.5 miles. They will turn around at Pahoehoe Park, and then they will run back in toward town. But Worth making sure that he takes on that very important nutrition at this early part of the run course, Paula. Very important now, as they now have about 23 miles to go. Nutrition really starts to kick in. Now as we go past one of the hills on the outward bound leg, here we see that Patrick Langer has now made his move. He was very patient in the first 6 miles, but now the defending champion is putting down a cracking pace that only a couple of athletes will be able to sustain.
Well, you know, interesting that we see Cameron Worth has spent the year dialing in his effort over the marathon. Each time he did an Ironman, went out, faded. He certainly has dialed in the pace that he knows he can maintain, knowing that he has a pack of Langer, Curry, O'Donnell, and Arnott right behind coming up.
Back in town for the first time on the run course through 5.5 miles. Cameron Worth is still leading. Bart Arno, he's in 5th place. Michael Weiss from Austria, Javier Gomez-Neuer and Maurice Clavel, and Andreas Dreitz from Germany, Anthony Costas and Giulio Molinari. USA's Matt Russell right in there, as well as Joe Skipper. There's David McNamee just coming into the fray. He was 3rd place last year, and look out for McNamee because he has a fast run leg. Braden Curry now is on the shoulder of Patrick Langer, and Timothy O'Donnell from the USA are not giving in without a good fight.
Well, I must say, I think this is that was the run leg we've all been waiting for. 3 of the top runners in the sport going head-to-head down a lead drive. It was like a heavyweight boxing match going up and down. Each one surging to the front and another one coming through. None of them willing to give up. But Patrick Langer has the experience as he now starts to close the gap on Cameron Worth. Cameron knowing that he's coming, and to his credit, Cameron has stayed out there in the lead and continues to look good, continues to look steady. What sportsmanship, what respect. It's wonderful. Look at the smile on their faces. A light-hearted moment in the heat of battle out there on the Queen K Highway.
Patrick Langer from Germany at 8 miles. He gets the lead of the race. Braden Curry and Timothy O'Donnell are fighting out in the top 5 right now. So at 13 miles, Patrick Langer leads. Bart Arnott from Belgium. New Zealand's Braden Curry is in there with a strong race so far. Cameron Worth is hanging in there. Timothy O'Donnell is right there. Javier Gomez-Neuer, one of our early favourites, is right there. And here comes McNamee from Scotland. He is really putting in a surge.
Yeah, with the reports coming in that David McNamee, our podium finisher from last year, coming back, starting to push toward the front, but still, and here it is, they continue to go round and round, pushing one another. Tim O'Donnell and Braden Curry, neither one of them wants to blink here. And in the meantime, Bart Arnott, known for his tremendous marathoning, putting in the surge as we watch these guys continue to go back and forth.
Accelerating back and forth, but not for Patrick Langer. He's been the most consistent runner out there today. We know that he holds the course record here at a 2:39. Today he's on pace to do just over 2 hours and 40 minutes, and now we have to start talking about the overall course record as we see Belgium's Bart Arnott. He's also running very, very well. He's on a pace that will break the other course record from the other year, and now we see that he is picking up the pace and maybe coming back at Patrick Langer a little bit.
Well, Bart Arnott has always done well coming off of a tremendous bike split and coming into the run and using the strength of his run to come through when the going gets tough and it's anybody else in front of him starts to fade. We have watched him in the top 10 in Kona, always pushing hard towards the end of the marathon, so not surprising to see him. But Patrick Langer seems to have made the definitive move on these athletes on the run course, but being closely contested. So he is certainly being challenged. They're not making it easy for them as these athletes go through the professional fluid station. This station set up for the athletes to put their own fluids that they can pick up themselves.
With just a few kilometres to go, Patrick Langer now from Germany has a sniff of the finish line. The Amazon Arch, that is what they're all chasing after today. Belgium's Bart Arnott right now is still sitting in second place, trying and struggling to make a move to get up into that first place and challenge Langer. But now the Flying Scotsman, look at David McNamee. He's come all the way into third place, all the way down from 15th off the bike.
Yeah, David McNamee has had a challenging year, and as we look at him running his way back to the podium, wonderful. The course record of 8:01:40 suddenly looks in dire straits today. Those bike course conditions, the good swim conditions have accumulated, and watching Patrick Langer produce his normal marathon, now the course record looks to be potentially shattered, Greg.
The magical 8-hour barrier can be shattered here at the World Championship, but it needs that perfect day as Team Langer wait at the finish line for their son, for their favourite racer out there today. Patrick is certainly on the way to that Amazon Arch and the finish line here at the 2018 Ironman World Championship, brought to you by Amazon. Now on Palani Road with just 1 mile to go. Langer has a 3.5-minute lead.
Yeah, Langer came out of the Natural Energy Lab, made that final 10K push for home, and his pace suddenly jumped. He started to run 5-10 seconds a mile faster than the rest of the field, and he has stamped his dominance onto the marathon as he is known for at this event. But Bart Arnott's continuing to be steady behind him.
Bart Arnolds is running out of real estate right now and just slowing a little bit. We can see now that Luke Van Leer was one of our former course record holders. That is Bart Arnold's coach, and the Belgian athletes, the German athletes and the Australian athletes have dominated the Ironman World Championship over the last 15 years. But now it is certainly going to be Patrick Langer. He is the defending champion. He's going to make it 2 from 2 today, and it was a brilliant run, a brilliant bike ride and a great swim that set everything up today for his victory.
Patrick Langer, our course record holder from last year. I bet he didn't think that he was going to be able to come back and set a level. This performance today is going to be, I think, is going to be a day, 40 years of dreams. This was a dream day for this athlete. I have a feeling that this is a mark that's going to stand for a long time, Greg. What a moment for this young man.
Patrick Langer smashes the 2017 Ironman World Championship course record, today lowering that standard by 9 minutes from an 8:01 to a 7:52, and for the very first time under 8 hours at the World Championship. He set it up with a great swim today, a great bike, and an even better run with a 2:41 to finish things off, and crowned for the second year in a row. Patrick Langer, you are the world champion.
You are amazing. You put together a swim, bike, run today, unlike any race you've ever done before. The complete Ironman, and you own the Ironman Championship course record.
Amazing. Amazing. But I promised myself when I break the course record, Julia, please listen. Julia! So
you promised yourself what if you broke course record?
Yeah, I think I have to go there. Julia, do you want to marry me?
She said yes!
Patrick Langer has just done the Ironman, and he's just done something that takes a lot more energy, and that is the proposal at the finish line. Paul and Yubi Fraser, you don't see that every day of the week.
You don't see that every day of the week. In fact, this is definitely the first time we've seen the champion come across the line where it's a moment about him, but he's so in love that he is making a marriage proposal. As we look at Bart Arnolds, this is definitely the race of his life. This day set up beautifully for him. This Belgian athlete has had many years of success. It's wonderful to see that so rewarded for him today.
Bart Arnolds from Belgium also breaking the former course record today and going under 8 hours at the Ironman World Championship, brought to you by Amazon right here on the big island of Hawaii. Yes, definitely the best race of his career. And it was David McNamee, the Scotsman, second year in a row in third place.
David McNamee is just, you see it, the redemption. He has struggled a little during the year, but he is showing that he belongs on the podium. 2 years in a row on the podium, 2 years with two of the same guys on the podium, Greg.
Patrick Langer wins for the second year in a row at a 7:52.38. Bart Arnolds in second place, and David McNamee round out the podium. Timothy O'Donnell, Braden Curry in the top 5. Matt Russell, Joe Skipper, Andy Potts, Cameron Worth, our early leader on the run, finishing in 9th place, and Michael Weiss from Austria at an 8:11.03 for your top 10. As we see celebration right now here at the IRONMAN World Championship, brought to you by Amazon. Patrick Langer just about to shake that bottle and celebrate well into the afternoon. Now we are just about set for our women's pro race.
Greg, this morning, 5 minutes after the pro men started at 6:35, 6:40 saw the start of our 36 pro women. And they took to the seas. Everybody, eyes on Lucy Charles, going for that swim course record. These great conditions, Lucy Charles, Lauren Brandon, who led out the swim last year. These women, I think, have made a decision that they're going to make a run at this swim course record.
Beautiful underwater shots right here in Kailua Bay. Beautiful Pacific Ocean, the glistening waters today. 2.4 miles on the Roka swim course. And Lucy Charles has done what we all thought that she wouldn't do, and that was separate herself from Lauren Brandon. This young lady here in 2012 narrowly missed the Olympic team in London 2012 and the open water swim. And today you can see exactly the swim strength of this young lady.
Yeah, Lucy Charles and Lauren Brandon I thought would be swimming together. I don't think Lauren thought for 1 minute she would not be able to keep up with her. Earlier this morning she had said the conditions are good. She thought that she could go after the swim course record as well. So to see Lucy Charles just hit it from the gun and manage to gap herself from Lauren is absolutely amazing. But this is the passion, this is the fearlessness of a 25-year-old athlete. She feels like she has nothing to lose, is unafraid, absolutely unafraid to go out there and just take it from the gun.
Second place in the 2017 IRONMAN World Championship, began her career as a competitive swimmer. In 2015, not only did she win the World Championship here in Kona, but she also won the Ironman 70.3 World Championship in Zellamsee in Austria. A wide turn around the Roka swim course right now. Lucy Charles has now made her way back toward Kailua-Kona. She only has 1.2 miles to go and already a sizable lead. In 1999, Jody Jackson set our swim course record at 48.43, and today the conditions are setting up for a race record.
The conditions are perfectly setting up for us, and Lucy Charles is in a league completely of her own. When you look back and you see this big pack of women chasing her down, and she is almost out of sight. We can't even see her almost on a long shot. So most of our favorites that we're looking at here in this front swim pack, but as we scan back, we don't see our defending champion Daniela Reef as we would expect in the next 3 or 4 athletes right behind her. We see Helle Friedrichsen, we can see many of the other top athletes in swims, but we are not seeing our defending champion.
Yes, Sarah True was leading that chase group around, but Lucy Charles just out there on her own. We just got a report that Daniela Reef had just been stung by a jellyfish, but she's swimming just fine right now. Lucy Charles continues to lead and getting after that race record in the swim course, the Roka swim course record in 99. That is 48.43. We'll keep an eye on that right now as we see Lucy now making her way back with about 500 meters to swim here, Paula. And this is where the action is all about to start when they head out of transition onto the bike ride.
Yeah, as we look at this lovely shot, you can see how quickly she is swimming up onto the back of some of these professional men. She started 5 minutes behind, but she's closing that gap down on the best men in the sport. And as she powers to that finish line, she wants to get as big a lead as possible. I know Lucy would like to. She held on almost all the way through the bike ride last year, and I think she would like to get a lead that will serve her all the way through the ride this year.
Our men's leader was just over 48.5 minutes today, and if Lucy Charles is going to get that record, she's going to have to get under 48.43 today. Not too far away from the end of the Roka swim course here. We're getting ready for that Venton bike ride, but here comes Lucy Charles with just a few seconds underneath the course record here. It's going to be close.
It's definitely going to be close, and she is not letting off the gas one little bit. She knows that every meter counts, and she's going to power it all the way, and you watch a very quick transition as she stands and runs up. She wants to get across that timing mat as quickly as possible.
Lauren Brandon in second place. She's almost 200 meters back from our leader at the moment. Lucy Charles has had an incredible swim, and yes, she takes the record down today. Lucy Charles, the 2017 Ironman runner-up. She is now the course record holder in the Roka swim. What a great effort that was.
gosh, this young woman from the UK, her fearlessness is remarkable. She's going to head herself in, get that change, get out onto the bike, get herself rolling, and I think she's going to try and hold this gap as long as she can. She has talked about wanting to get onto the run course alongside or in front of Daniela Reef to just have an opportunity to go feel that energy of the two of them together, like head to head. As she heads out, she's all prepared, making that runaround transition. Suit is zipped up, helmet is on, wasting no time. This woman has dialed it down and is not wasting a second.
Well, I thought Clark Kent was really quick in that telephone box, but I tell you what, Lucy Charles takes the cake. What a smoking hot transition that was. That was electrifying fast out there today, and she is going to pick up time on the rest of the competition. Now Charles heads out onto the Ventum bike course, making a left up onto the Kailua-Kona Highway. This is Lauren Brandon in second place, and now she is over 2.5 minutes down.
This is, I think, as we look at the women's race at the start, I think this is the first. A notable story going on is the fact that she has managed to put that kind of time into an athlete like Lauren Brandon on the swim. So I think as this race unfolds, that is notable, because to put that kind of time on Lauren is amazing. Look at the time Lauren puts on the rest of the women in the field, and that's the best woman in the world out there on that swim, and she is head and shoulders above them, and she's even further ahead.
Well, now it's become official. She took 31 seconds off the swim course record today, but she's not even thinking about that right now, because here comes Daniela Reef. A little bit unlike her. She's a little bit further down, around about 9 minutes at the moment, down from our leader, but you can see that Daniela Reef does not look right. She looks like somebody who's got something going on, and we did tell you before, we can clarify on those jellyfish things right up underneath the arms, but she has recovered. Back out onto the Queen Kaumana Highway, Lucy Charles is our leader in our pro women's division right now at 8.5 miles into the race, and looking very good.
Oh, she's flying along the Queen K Highway, and back down out of the swim, Daniela Reef a lot further back than we would expect her. She came out with some of our other top contenders, including Marinda Coffrey and Heather Jackson. She would normally be a long ways ahead of them, but nonetheless, the champion that she is, she got through that swim and she's heading out on the bike ride. As we see Lucy Charles and our other top swimmers, Sarah True, Helly Friedrichsen, out onto the bike ride.
Out onto the bike ride we go, and there's Daniela Reef trying to make up for all of that time lost in the swim today and in transition, but we know that the Angry Bird, as we know Daniela Reef, is now making up time. Lucy Charles leads at 31 miles into the bike course here, brought to you by Ventum, Sarah Crowley, Daniela Reef and Lauren Brandon, our top four.
And as we expected, our champion got herself together out there on the bike course, just centered herself and then slowly chipped her way through the field, made a big surge, passing many of the other contenders. Our podium finisher, Sarah Crowley, she came right by her. Sarah Crowley, being as tough as they come, is trying to hang on, much the same as she did last year. She may pay a price for this, because at this point, Daniela Reef is moving faster than anybody else out on the women's bike course. As we see Lucy Charles making the turn in Harvey and heading home, this is her opportunity to see how that lead is stacking up.
Going through the aid station, Lucy Charles is just trying to put the water bottle in the back there, and this is the special needs. And oh, there's a mistake by Lucy Charles. Now, is she going to turn around and go back and get it?
Well, I've got to say that the 15 to 30 seconds to get your nutrition, if in my position, I would say you should do it. Obviously, she doesn't feel like she needs it. That may be a little error that will come back to haunt her in about another 2 or 3 hours.
Let's take a look at our 3D map across the big island of Hawaii here. This is where our leader pro woman is at the moment, heading way back from Kauai High, from Harvey to Kauai High, just getting a little bit of headwind coming down the hill. That will be negated with the descent just coming back into Kauai High.
And looking at Lucy Charles, she's got herself back in her aero position, heading down the hill from Harvey. This is the fastest part of this bike course as she takes the gradual downhill 18-mile stretch to Kauai High. But look who is coming. Daniela Reef has found her groove. This is the Daniela we're used to seeing. A little bit of a hiccup in the swim, or perhaps a little more than a little hiccup. It was rather a large hiccup for this champion, but she has put it all behind her and heading to the front.
The barren lava fields now are warming up, now getting close to the midday sun at the moment. The gap between Charles and Reef is 2 minutes and 19 seconds and coming down all the time. She's taking around about 10 seconds a mile out of our leader at the moment. So Daniela Reef, our three-time champion, she's on a tear.
She is on a tear. When you think that she started this bike ride over 10 minutes behind Lucy Charles, we're now talking about a 2-minute gap, and they still have at least 30 miles left to ride. The champion is looking smooth, looking like she has gotten herself dialed in. All the mishaps behind her. Lucy Charles now having to make the effort through these aid stations to pick up what she needs. Perhaps that drop of her aid at the special needs might be coming back at her right now, because she's having to decide what else she can get to replace what she dropped.
Leader Pro women out there with 46 miles to go. They're riding at 27 miles an hour at the moment, so that is very, very quick. And at that pace, there may be a chance that they can break the IRONMAN World Championship course record on the bike today.
I think that the conditions today, much like the swim, are lining up as we saw with the men up the road. The speeds that these athletes are able to hold today under these conditions, probably some of the best we've ever seen, and taking advantage of it. In fact, as you look to the side of the road, you see there's a little bit of a tailwind. Who gets a tailwind in the last 25 miles? But Daniela Reef has now locked on to her target.
Normally the winds are a lot stronger and in the face of the athletes, but today they are favourable, especially for this woman right now. She is now making her way back into town at about the 95-mile mark, and now it's about time to overtake. She'll move out of that draft line there. She has 25 seconds to go around, break the plane of the other athlete's front wheel, and there we go, just like that. We have a new leader. Daniela Reef, the three-time IRONMAN World Champion, is now in the lead of the race, exactly where she's accustomed to being.
You know, Daniela loves to lead off the bike, and as I cast my mind back and I think about her resume at Ironman races, I am trying to think. It's been 2-3 years. I have not seen her not come off the bike first in an Ironman race. She is so tough. She knows how to execute. She knows what it takes, and she wants to lead onto the run. She wants everyone to chase her, and she has set a record today.
Well, she's brought it down from another Swiss athlete there. Karen Tourig took the record down to 4:44 just over a decade ago, and now it belongs to Daniela Reef with a 4 hours and 26-minute bike ride today. The first woman to crack the 4.5 magical barrier.
Unbelievable. And the course record set by Karen Tourig. Karen Tourig is an Olympic time trial champion. So that just puts in perspective the kind of time and the performance that we saw from Daniela on the bike today.
And Daniela Reef is one of our strongest runners out there today. Here we got Lucy Charles just coming into the bike transition now. She'll be just about set to head off onto the hooker on a run course, and now she will face a deficit of 1 minute and 40 seconds.
1 minute and 40 seconds, not a lot. Lucy's running continues to get better, a little bit more experience every year that goes by, more and more confidence. I don't think we're going to see her give up at all or give it to Daniela that easily. I think Daniela's going to have to work for it, and she will be looking behind her, but nonetheless Daniela knows how to take care of business as she heads out onto that run course, just stoic and knowing what she needs to do.
As Reef departs, there goes Charles, she arrives, but Daniela Reef now, she has this race at her feet. The jellyfish stings are a distant memory. She had a fantastic bike ride with an IRONMAN World Championship bike course record today, and now she sets off on her journey down Ali'i Drive, 3.5 miles down to Pahoehoe Park. She'll make that U-turn and come back into town. The women's leaderboard, Daniela Reef leads 1:39 down Lucy Charles, and Corrine Abram making a very good impression on the bike race today, and Sarah Crowley hanging in for 4th place off the bike.
As we see these women going out onto the run course, we see our podium from last year. They're all 3 women on the podium sitting in that top 4. Daniela looking just as she always does. She's taking care of business, smooth, very controlled. Lucy Charles looking wonderful out there. You can see she is not going to give an inch. She's going to try and keep that gap as close as she can for as long as she can, and she is just waiting. You never know what's going to happen up the road ahead of you, so she is going to put herself in a position. If there's even a falter from Daniela, she is going to be right there to take advantage of it.
Lucy Charles checking the heart rate, checking the pace right now, but we can tell you that she's losing time on Daniela Reef. Daniela Reef does not have a weakness in her repertoire. She's a good swimmer, she's a very solid bike rider, and a great runner. And look at the turnover by Daniela Reef. There's a lot of power being put through the ground there, and they say that you're only as fast as your foot speed. And right now, Daniela has it going.
She really does. And as we see, Sarah True, a rookie to Ironman this year, her first Ironman event in Frankfurt, her first time in Kona, and boy, is she putting on a show. As we see Sarah Crowley, our third place finisher from 2017, tough as ever. A win this year at Ironman Hamburg. She is getting ready, and she is executing out there. As we see Sarah True, wow, look at this rookie. As she said, ignorance is bliss out here. On this run course, she has run herself into third place.
Here at the Hoka One run course turnaround in the Natural Energy Lab. Now they have reached the furthest part of the course away from town. On the run leg here, now she's only got 10 miles to run, Paula, and looking very good at this point. No weaknesses at all. And for this young lady here, Germany's Annie Haug has now ran right up into the top 5 and overtaken Sarah Crowley, who was last year's podium finisher.
Well, I have to say, it's a day for the rookies out there. Another rookie who did her first Ironman in Frankfurt earlier this year. A few struggles out there that day, but her first time too here in Kona. So our rookies are having a marvelous day, fighting for that podium position and challenging the veterans.
So reaching the Queen Kaumanu Highway for the last time today at 20 miles. It's Reef from Charles, Sarah True, and the other rookie, Annie Haug, in 4th place. So rookies in 3rd and 4th right now, chasing down our champion.
And as our champion and our 2nd place athlete on the road, Lucy Charles, 1 and 2 from last year, 1 and 2 from the Ironman 70.3 World Championship in South Africa just last month. These two women seem to be at a level that's just a step or two above everyone else. They seem to have a race within themselves, and then everybody else racing behind them. Lucy looking like a little bit of the heat is starting to get to her as she takes a lot of ice and fluids at the aid station. Wonder if there hasn't been a little bit of comeback from her losing her bottle. But Daniela Reef, rock solid.
And now Sarah True has been taken down to a walk right now, reduced to a walk through the aid station. We can see that now things are getting a little tough for the Ironman rookie here. This is where it can either fall apart, or now she just has to get some nutrition in and get herself to the finish line.
Yeah, things are getting real for Sarah True out on the highway as we see Daniela Reef coming through the arch, a lead drive. I can only imagine the emotion, a tough start to the day for her, but here she is, going to be taking her 4th consecutive world title.
Only been done twice before, one time for yourself and Mark Allen as well, doing that 4 in a row. So Daniela Reef now with a good swim, but not a best. A very good bike ride, the best we've ever seen by a woman at 4:26, and a great run. A 2:57 is going to take the women's course record, the Ironman World Championship course record, down to an 8:26.16 today. Daniela Reef is a 4-time champion.
This is such a remarkable performance. One for the ages, to have a female athlete set a record sub 8:30 here in Kona on this course, under these conditions, under this pressure. Remarkable, absolutely remarkable. I think this is a mark that's going to stand for a long time.
This
too.
mark will stand for a long time, Paula, as Lucy Charles now heads into the arch here, the Amazon Arch, and the finish line in 2nd place for the 2nd year in a row. She's also going to go down underneath the old World Championship course record. And in 2nd place, the 25-year-old has had another great day on the Big Island of Hawaii. And it was Annie Haug in 3rd place, the 2-time Olympian, stepping up in the distance to the Ironman for 3rd place.
A rookie today out here in Kona, third place also. What a great time for her. It's been a remarkable day all round.
I can't believe it. It's crazy. I don't know if you know, guys, I got stung by a jellyfish in the swim, and I thought I couldn't lift my arms anymore. I thought I'm gonna quit. And I thought, okay, no, I can't because I'm the champion, and there's gonna be kids out there. They're gonna be so disappointed. And I'm like, okay, this is the hardest swim I've ever done, 3.8 in such pain. I had like 2 jellyfishes here. I was just pain, it was horrible. And then I was like, okay, no, you can't give up. You never know, and I can't believe it. It's just unbelievable that this is possible. I'm just speechless, to be honest.
Daniela Reef just talking to the crowd there, taking her 4th title in a row, over to see mum and dad. They've travelled all the way from Switzerland to see their wonderful daughter create history down here today, Paula.
Well, Madame Pele delivered a day, and what a day it was. Our women's final standings, Daniela Reef, Lucy Charles, and Haug are on our podium with our rookie Sarah True. Mirinda Coffrey, what a great comeback for her in 5th place. Sarah Crowley, Kaiser Sali, Angela Nath, Corinne Abraham, and Lindsay Corbin back in the top 10 again.
A magnificent top 10 as we see Kailua-Kona in all of its glory right now, looking down at the pier there with our 2,741 bikes down there, and what a great podium that was. Celebrating today, Daniela Reef taking her 4th title, accepting the flowers there. Lucy Charles in 2nd place, and Anne Haug from Germany in 3rd. This celebration will go on for a long, long time.
Well, we're looking at this celebration. Anne Haug having a little trouble, but boy, these women are just loving it up there as they celebrate what will be remembered, I think, as one of the most amazing days in Ironman history.
All 3 women on the podium breaking the old record, and well into the night here. Coming up on the 17 hours, we see the most incredible finishes coming across the Amazon Arch and the finish line here at the 2018 Ironman World Championship, brought to you by Amazon. The finishes, they struggled. Some of them were upright. The Welsh athletes just getting across the line, and the crowd, tens of thousands of people welcoming home Hirumi Unagi from Japan. This gentleman here, Marcus, weighed 484 pounds and competed in the Ironman World Championship. And the entertainment went right throughout the night. But it was Lucy Charles, there's Andreas Strides and Patrick Langer. It was a great day for all the action here in Kailua-Kona. With a celebration at the finish line, we can see athletes struggling across the line. And just like that, the celebrations will mark a fantastic 40 years of dreams of the Ironman World Championship, brought to you by Amazon.